welcome to our Elite OC chat where we are gathered as a team to go through just what's been going on in the market in the past 60 days or so. And then also we wanted to give you a brief idea of last year compared to this year, what's been going on in the market, and just the typical questions that everyone asks us all the time. So I'm here with my team, Angie Lauren and Jim Marshall. We're Elite Property Group. I'm Kristen Andrews, and we're just going to talk about the market a little bit. Angie does focus primarily on the Wildwood area markets, and Jim and I tend to focus more on Ocean City. There are two major markets that we tend to do a lot of business in, and we have a lot of investors in both of those markets, so we can give you ideas and comparison of the two as far as investments are concerned and as far as just general activity that we've seen. So, Jim, tell us a little bit about Ocean City, what you're seeing. I know that we have, I think, 200, how many houses are in the market right now? How many properties total for Ocean City?
So if you were in the market for anything, condo, single, duplex, land, there's today about 250.
In Ocean City, complete?
Yeah, Ocean City, which is about half of what we would have been looking at just a couple of years ago.
Yeah. I do remember looking up how many properties in the market, just random times, and it was usually around 600, 650. Yeah. So we're almost at a third, even.
And that's come down. I mean, 2 months ago we were over 300.
Was it?
Now it's December, so obviously you're going to see people saying, "Well, I want to take my property off for the holidays," or "I'm not going to list my property."
I need to close by the end of the year. People have already closed, or they're closing, and the rest are kind of waiting it out. Do you think?
Some, but we're still getting listings, and the people that price it right they're still selling. You know, they're on the market a week and they're gone.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So I know you were talking about the days on market being so. Generally, you're seeing the average or median. Do you want to explain that?
Okay. So. Yeah, average and median. There's a difference. The two words. Most people think it's the same, and it isn't. The average is just take everything, throw it in a pot, and divide by whatever. Yeah, here's the average. The median gives us a better idea of what is most popular in selling as far as sale prices go. So I like to look at median numbers. It really tells me what the market is.
It's like the most prominent data.
Yeah. Average might look like really attractive, but it can also be really misleading.
Right.
So.
Because if you got one really high or one really low, it can throw the whole number off. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Or two really low and one really high, and your average is high, but your median is no. What's selling is the lower price stuff. So, and we need to know what's really
happening.
What's really selling, yeah.
So what's really happening in Ocean City?
Okay, so again, it's seasonally things are slowing up, but
that's typical for this time of year.
But they're still selling. They're still selling. It's just be realistic about your price. And I would tell you the same story now as I would have told you 6 months ago, and that is the most critical time for marketing is. Today, even less. You've got like 2 weeks, and if you're not seeing activity, it's saying your price is too high. This isn't 2010.
Activity and no offers, right. But you're getting a bunch of listings or getting a bunch of showings, and then no offers. That tells you also usually condition. So
because people, they pay attention today to days on market, and they say, well, if it's stale.
I have found that the average consumer these days, if it has been on the market for 30 days, they're like, well, it's been sitting on the market. Right. Like, it's been a whole 30 days. If you didn't sell it before you put it on the market, then it's probably overpriced.
Yep. But if you're a smart buyer, it'd be like, forget the days on markets, let's look at it. Maybe there's something else that everybody else missed.
I agree.
And that's just what you're looking for. Yeah. I want
savvy.
The bargain. I want the deal.
Yeah.
So are you seeing the same in the Wildwood areas with the days on market being brief if it's priced correctly?
Exactly the same. Things are still moving pretty quickly as they're hitting the market. And yes, same thing. If they're sitting on the market for a couple of weeks, you have to basically take a look at that price because more than likely it is overpriced. which, the last couple of years, a lot of the sellers, they got away with it. They got away with getting $50, $60, $100,000 over asking price, especially in the Wildwoods. There was a lot of fluctuation as far as price point in North Wildwood, Wildwood Crest. The price point drastically went up over the past couple of years. And
So when you say drastically, what would the price point changing?
Well, just to give you an example, I have some numbers in front of me here. So Wildwood Crest, to use the median, not the average, we went from a price point currently 2021, $540,000 in the median, whereas last year, even though it was a pretty crazy year last year, but last year that median was 452.
Wow.
So sellers started to realize that they could get probably what they want, and they did. And we're starting to get a little elevated now. The buyers are realizing that they're not going to pay $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 over. So us as listing agents, we have to be smart about that knowledge and price it exactly right. But yes, Ocean City Market, Wildwood Crest, North Wildwood, we all have the same story.
That's interesting.
So your median sale price went up about 20% in a year, which is about the same as we saw in Ocean City.
Yes.
Now that doesn't mean that every house value went up 20%, because there may have been more of the more expensive properties being listed, but it certainly shows that there's a lot of appreciation everywhere.
Sure, and there's a lot of opportunity in the Wildwoods for investors as well. So, people, maybe their house needed a renovation or something like that, and they just cashed out of the market.
Right.
And that's a lot what we saw over the past couple of years. But the sellers made out really well.
Interesting.
And the buyers got what they wanted, so.
Yeah. And as far as rentals are concerned, I think both areas are still booming as far as investment properties, weekly rentals, and I know that we've been dabbling in the Airbnb atmosphere with a lot of our clients as well, and seeing a really significant return on their investment as far as that's concerned, because they're able to have a more flexible time frame for the rentals. Not everybody wants the Saturday to Saturday, which is traditional for both Wildwood and Ocean City, as well as I think Strathmere, Sea Isle, Avalon, we all do the weekly rentals. So people really do like having the flexibility of a shorter term, a weekend term, a midweek term for people that work weekends, and I've seen a lot of activity in that sphere, as well as the off season, because they're able to really significantly increase the ROI on their property by renting off season, especially now that so many people are working from home. And if they can work from home, they can work from the beach, and it's, they're tired of being home, they're tired of being locked up, they want a change of scenery. And for a couple $100s to come down the shore and work from home, it's something we're seeing a lot of, I think. So what are your investors saying in the Wildwoods compared to Ocean City? What are you seeing?
I've done a lot of follow-up with my past clients over the past few months, just to kind of see what their 2022 volumes are going to look like. A lot of them are already completely booked for the season. And some of those beach blocks, or maybe a block back, they're averaging anywhere between $3,200 all the way up to $4,000 a week in Wildwood.
And that's the boardwalk area,
boardwalk
close
area,
to everything.
Convention center, boardwalk, the park
That's
areas.
Wildwood too. That's not even North Wildwood.
North Wildwood, Wildwood Crest, they're actually averaging around that same price point. So North Wildwood are getting Wildwood Crest rental income.
That's awesome.
So I like your Airbnb idea, because if I own a property at the shore, I could actually come down on Friday night, stay all weekend, leave on Monday, and rent it the rest of the week.
Yep.
Or you could get 3 tenants in 1 week. It is more work. It's more labor. You have to have clean sheets, clean towels. For Airbnb, it's a little bit different. You provide a lot more of a service for people when they come down. It's more of an experience for them, whereas the weekly rental program is basically you bring your own towels, you bring your own sheets. We're giving you the place, but that's, and all the, dishes and things like that, but you're kind of on your own. So people really like the Airbnb experience and the flexibility. So we saw, I had a tiny little condo this summer that probably made $6,000 in 2 months just doing 3-night minimums and, just booking. Whereas, the downstairs of the same building had a 3-bedroom unit that we did probably $3,000 to $4,000 per month with a monthly tenant. So there's some room there for fluctuation, and I think a significant increase in the ROI, and especially if you're willing to do the shoulder seasons, May, June, September, October. I mean, it is 60 degrees out right now. It's December. So who doesn't want to be down here and just take advantage of that? So I think there's a lot of room in the market for that, and we can help you with that if it's something you're interested in. What is the number one thing that sellers need to know right now about selling, and what's the number one thing that buyers need to know about buying?
Well, the buyers, I think you need to know that in most cases, expect to pay asking price or really, really near it. Mm-hmm. Numbers. The last 2 years, properties are selling for 98, 99% of asking price.
102.
And right, and some were higher, and some were lower. So it all comes down to having someone properly price your property. Be realistic. Don't.
It's so funny because if you're not priced right, you'll get showings, but you won't get offers. And if you get an offer, usually the sellers are like, no, we're not giving it away. But if you're priced right, people will go up to that higher number, but they have to feel like it's their choice. And also, as a seller, it's really important for you to be priced right, because if you are priced high and someone just finally concedes to your high price point, and then the appraisal comes back and it doesn't appraise, then you set that price as the seller, and you're going to have to concede. Whereas if you price a very comfortable, realistic number for that property, and the buyer sets their own price by coming in higher, then it's up to them to cover the gap between what you felt was a reasonable price and realistic, and there's an appraisal gap, so they need to cover that gap, but it's on them because they set the price. So that's a really significant thing I think that buyers and sellers both need to be aware of, that if you're going to come in over asking, you're going to need to cover that gap. Don't just assume the price is going to go back down if the appraisal doesn't come in, because you're setting the price because you want the house. But for sellers, I think that's such a significant aspect that they have to really take into consideration with their pricing.
Yes.
And it's so funny because you'll end up at the same higher price point, I think, if it's not completely unrealistic. But people have to feel like it's their choice, and that they're still getting the deal. They feel like they're getting a deal because they won. It's so funny how much money is psychology. I think.
The art of the deal. Huh?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, let us know if you have any questions. If you have interest in renting your property, we do have options for you. We have multiple options that are pretty flexible, and we can help you figure out what the potential income for a property is if you have interest in looking at a property. We also have an investor program, so if you would like to be part of that, please let us know, and we will add you into our database so you can receive up-to-date information on properties that come on the market that we think would be good investments throughout the entire area from Atlantic City down to Cape May. We go through and comb through mostly multi-unit properties and really good investment opportunities as far as condos are concerned, but only the best. And we can send you a basic understanding of what that property would implement, what the property would bring in as far as cash flow, and what their expenses would be, and how to get you started. And we have the best lenders on call. So reach out to us anytime. We'd love to work with you, and we look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.